Weird stuff is going on.
What in the hell?
They're really not wanting us to talk today.
I was going to say, technology's being a little shit. It was also giving me a hard time. I'm lighting my fucking sage. Where is it? I got a new one. After all that bullshit last night, I burned out all the rest of my old sage. I have to start a new one now. I burned up the rest of my stick. How do you always decide which end to burn? How do you choose? Do you choose that or that? Because they look the same. How do you choose which side to light?
Marlon said to choose the pointy end.
They're both pointy, technically. That's funny. Hello, good morning. Sorry we're late. Hello, everybody. We had some technological issues. There's been some fuckery in the airwaves, so we're getting the stage going.
I can see the comments. Heck yes.
That was the benefit of why it was a good thing we struggled to get you on the computer. At least all's well that ends well.
Yes. Yes, sorry guys, we had some technical difficulties. I'm not the most tech savvy person. I try really hard.
Be honest, you were set up there. No, it's not your fault. StreamYard's doing weird stuff today. We were just talking about glitches in the Matrix and how weird things are getting technologically, and now all of a sudden technology's like, here, watch this.
That's right, Sophie. A wizard is never late.
I say that all the time because people are always accusing me of being late. I'm like, time doesn't exist. How can you be late if time doesn't exist? The clock says I'm late, but I argue with a lot of technology, so that's fine. We don't have to agree. Oh, yes, it was Kat's birthday the other day.
Yes, thank you, everybody. I'm just going to send a little bit of Palo Santo smoke to everyone. Allow everyone to cleanse and clear their field. With Laura and I, just close your eyes and accept the smoke. Allow it to envelop your entire aura. Allow your body to relax. There we go. There we go.
Nice one. Good juju coming in. So how are you doing this morning? Besides all the electrical fuckery, how's everything else?
It's going really well. So I got a very, very large crystal for my birthday that I wanted to share with everyone today. I brought it with me. This is my little amethyst guy. He's huge. Or she. It's a she. Yes. There's about 5 or 6 rainbow inclusions in her. My aunt gave me to her.
Very nice.
Gave her to me. Yes. So
I also have something I'm going to mail to you as soon as your orgonite is finished. I'm going to try and finish making yours and Daniel Jackson's orgonite tonight. But this is merlinite. Isn't this pretty?
That is gorgeous.
This is the piece I'm sending to you.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
So it's been one of my pieces for a long time, but it needs to be made into jewelry somehow. I don't know if you've got a way of wrapping or getting somebody to make, but yeah, I'm going to send this to you. It'll be a very beautiful necklace if we can get somebody to what they normally do is they take it like that and they put like a frame around it like these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Merlinite is my favorite crystal. Has been since forever. I have so many pieces of it. Like I got this piece as well.
Oh, that's
Aren't they pretty? Every single piece is unique. You never find two pieces identical.
It almost looks like a cherry blossom tree is like etched in some selenite or something similar.
Yeah, they also get spheres as well. Cool. Check out the sphere as well. I got a cool merlinite sphere. I'm not kidding about it being my favorite crystal. Like I use it all the time. Have for over a decade. It's such a wonderful crystal. What are your guys' favorites? What's your favorite crystal?
You know, I switch in between favorites. It's hard for me to pick a favorite because I work with so many different ones. But the green stones are definitely the ones
I'm wearing seraphonite today with the seraphim angels.
Yes, turquoise. Turquoise is one of my favorites. I love moldavite. Love moldavite.
Yes.
I know a lot of
I always have a piece of it very close by.
But I'm like, this is my little moldy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
So
pretty. I love moldavite, but it can be a bit intense for some people.
yes, and
My
I
guys
also
tell me all
really
the time, they're like, wear your moldavite today. So I have a little piece that I wear on occasion. But yeah, it's very expensive. It's hard to find good sized pieces for affordable prices.
well, yeah, and a little goes a long way. I don't think people realize how much it opens your heart and sets you on a higher timeline and a higher path. So a lot of people, when they start to work with moldavite for the first time, they're like, my whole entire world just got fucked up. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. Like, it's chaos everywhere. And it's because it's like literally taking you out of your mold and putting you in a new mold in a totally different place. And that's what you asked for, but you just don't realize how much chaos it's actually going to give you in the process. Because we like to
Yes.
hold on to friendships and people and things and stuff like that. So it's kind of one of those things. We can get caught up in certain 3D constructs, and then we get a moldavite and it's like, no, we're taking you out of that and we're putting you over here, and then you're like, ah! It takes a while for you to acclimate after that.
Some people also like Libyan desert glass. I'm actually wearing beads of it. I love the Libyan desert glass. It's a bit softer than moldavite's energy. So if moldavite is a bit intense for you, yeah, that's a better suggestion for those who are kind of working their way up to that frequency. But I always think of it as like a little piece of 5D because it came from outside our 3D sphere. It came from, it's actually. But then I said something to the guides about it. I was like, yeah, it came from 5D. And they're like, well, technically everything comes from 5D because it's coming from under the ground. And I was like, how so? And they said 3D energies don't permeate below the dirt. So yeah, everything is kind of sitting in 5D underground anyway. And I was like, that's a really interesting way of putting it. But I still think of it as it's a chunk of another planet, technically.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Well, and like a lot of people will say and believe that like crystals do nothing. And if that's what you believe, then that's what happens. You can pick up a crystal and it's not going to give you jack shit because you don't believe in the sentience that it has. So Mother
I would
Terra
say
or
computers
Sachi
wouldn't
Mom
exist if crystals do nothing. Technically, all computers are
created.
running because of crystal chips and stuff. Yes, quartz.
Yes, yes. And so because of that, the belief that you put into crystals and the belief, like when you see a crystal or when you look at a crystal, if you don't have the belief or the truth in your heart to know that that has some type of energetic structure for you, it's not going to do anything. And that's why some crystals disappear. Some
Well, I always
crystals.
joked that sometimes the moldavite goes back to 5D because technically it just vanishes a lot of the time. We're like, where did that piece go? I just left it there and it's gone.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
who also believed that crystals were alive and conscious was Nikola Tesla.
Yes.
Nikola Tesla absolutely believed that crystals have a consciousness, that you can actually communicate with that consciousness. And if you think about it, trees are conscious. You can communicate with trees. Like just because something doesn't seem to be living and breathing does not mean it doesn't have a consciousness. Everything has consciousness.
Yes, everything does. And the cool thing about us is we have the ability to start to talk and connect with these really cool creatures. I mean, I like to call them creatures because they have their own energetic structure, but they have their own consciousness. And so since they have their own consciousness, if we humble ourselves down to a level where we don't have our ego at all, we can start to receive messages from these crystals. And
Yeah.
as Daniel Jackson says, they become our pet rocks and we love them and they love us and they protect us in a specific way. The cool thing about crystals is they have what's called a dominant oscillatory rate. So their oscillatory rate stays the same. Us as humans and the way we use our third eye, we can program that crystal to do something specific and work in a specific way for our bodies and for us. And then if we don't need it anymore, sometimes it'll just disappear or we'll give it to a friend or it will break. And so
Yes.
that's just a sign that we don't need it anymore. And we just need to move on through it. So I always like to bury, and anytime I break a crystal, I always just thank it for whatever it did for me. And I send it lots of love. I wrap it in something that's biodegradable, or I will just leave it out in the open and I always bury it.
Yeah, it's burying it, sending it back to the earth. The guides are always saying that. They're saying, yeah, you just give it back to Gaia and she'll cleanse and heal it. And they say if your crystal breaks, if your crystal, like if you fall and drop it and it goes to pieces, then you can basically just rebury it. What?
Oh, nothing. I see that chat's getting a little heated. We're good.
People always have their opinions and they're welcome to them. But if it's a shitty opinion, keep it to yourself.
Honey, you know, I'm not pretentious. I'm not at all.
No,
I'm one of the most down-to-earth people you will ever meet. But
that's why that's what people don't like. In the comments, and I get it. Like crystals, yeah, it does seem like it's an inanimate object. You know, it's how can this believe that it's going to do anything for you? Well, because we've been educated, because we know things. Spirit's always talking about crystal.
Yes, Brandy.
One of the biggest things they tell you to do is to make sure that you have your dream state protected at night, and when you're out in public, you wear crystals for protection. It's basically the most common aftercare that the soul guides give to almost every single client.
Yeah, I mean, I have these little tiny earrings. They're jet. I got them from a little company, local company here. She does crystal stuff, and so that's actually who I'll probably contact to do my Merlinite thing for me. But she has a bunch of studs that she uses. And so I just basically, when I first got these, I said, you know, these are for spiritual protection. Anytime that I wear these, my third eye, my crown, my head, everything from heart up is divinely protected and always connected. So anytime I feel like crap and I put these earrings on, I feel better because I have programmed them to do exactly what they're supposed to do. They keep me divinely protected all the time.
Programming your crystals is important because if you don't give them, you don't set them to purpose, they're not gonna do what you want them to do entirely.
Yeah.
But I also really love, you know, I've been wearing these a lot. These are my triangles, and these ones, I looked online to get somebody a pair. I bought these like 5 years ago. These are meteorites. And I looked online, they're $150 for the same pair of earrings now. I paid $50 for them. I was like, woo, meteorites are getting expensive. These things, no, people are starting to realize how powerful they are. And it's iron. So iron is very protective. And when you wear these, it locks down your personal frequency. So, you know, it's like the word is getting out. People are starting to recognize the difference when you wear these things. They can feel so much more protected. And I really just wearing iron is one of my favorites. I actually wear quite a bit of it. I wear it for, I'm wearing meteorites right now that have it in there. And hematite. Hematite is also really good.
Hematite is really cool. I like hematite because it really balances our ability to connect with earth on a more sacred level. So like when you're very, very, very ungrounded, your hematite can break. And that's like an actual sign that you're ungrounded and you need to ground. That's why a lot of people, when they first get hematite and they're going through a spiritual awakening or they're going through a lot and it breaks almost immediately, that's just the hematite trying to tell you, hey, you're too ungrounded. I can't handle your energy. Peep. So if you are really wanting to work with hematite, make sure it is a great stone to work with, but it is very sensitive. So if you are going to work with hematite, just make sure that you go outside and you ground yourself before, or you have a grounding crystal with you like shungite or some type of black crystal with you to help you acclimate to stay grounded so that you don't fluctuate too much with that energy in it because it will. What happens is hematite's very sensitive. So if you're ungrounded, it's like a lightning rod and your literal energy will just go zing right into it and it just goes, I can't handle it, there's not grounding, pop.
Yes, that happens a lot with some of the what do you call them, those rings that people wear, the rings like the rose quartz and the hematite rings. I've noticed they don't last very long.
No, they don't. They serve their purpose, but then people don't realize like how hard we are on our hands and like how much you actually hit with your hand or, you know, you accidentally push up against stuff or your ring gets caught on something. That's why a lot of good quality, high quality rings are real silver because silver can tarnish, but it's not going to break apart really easily. Or gold, you know, some of those heavier metals, they work really well.
People don't often think that actually metal has metaphysical properties as well.
Oh,
they're often thinking about the crystal. Some people don't wear gold, for example. I don't like wearing gold at all. I've never really worn it. I always feel more comfortable wearing silver. So it
Me
makes you
too.
wonder why, like certain metals vibe with you and others don't.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's just because crystals will speak to different people who need different things. So I'm going to need something different than you need. And so there may be a crystal that will resonate with me that won't resonate with you, and vice versa. And that's okay, because that's what makes us unique. And I think a lot of people are trying to dumb themselves down and not be unique, because society has told us that we all have to be the same fucking cookie cutter,
Yep. Exactly.
gingerbread man. We all have to be the same. And so you let your creativity leave, and then it's like, oh well, where did I go? Where did that innate piece of me who makes me go? And it was stomped out of you. So take that back, because you deserve to be unique and shimmery and all the things. And that's one thing I think Merlin wants to come in and say is, he's going to be kind of harsh, but he wants all of y'all to know that we need to get our shit together.
That seems to be the general consensus of all the soul guides right now.
Yes, and it's not in a bad way. It's really, we need more people to step into their power, to step into their light, to step into their gifts, to let their freak flag fly, per se. Like, seriously, if there's something you have been wanting to do, that you've been called to do, start doing it. Take that first step today. The first step starts today.
It's really funny because that was part of the aftercare. We wrote into one of those reports last night. She was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. The guys are like, yeah, you do. You're just scared to do it. Go. Do it now. Go on. Get it. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? You already know what you're supposed to be doing. Don't look to us for validation. Just go do it. You know what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, and it's like, well, it's like that meme, it's like, hey, I'm looking for a sign. And it's like, oh, okay. And God's like, hey,
like, no,
source,
I want a signier sign.
I've given you like 15 signs. And then it's like, oh, no, I need a signier sign. Go ahead and just smack me in the face with a tree branch or something. Maybe then I'll get it, But it's like, guys, the signs are there. They're telling you, they're always there. So like, listen to them and start stepping into your gifts, because this is what we really need. We're on the precipice of being able to fully jump into 5D a lot faster than where we're at. So
I'm cracking up because I was hanging out with Bradley and Tina on chat last night. We decided to pull some cards, and I pulled a card and I was like, no. And I put it back. No. And I put it back in the deck, and then I shuffled again and I pulled the same fucking card again. And I was like, God damn it. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
not what
yeah,
I want. Like, Bradley got the sun card. Why can't I have that one? Like, I want the sun card. You know what card it was? It was the fucking tower. It's like,
having your tower moment.
well, you know what it was. And then I pulled another card, and the card from my witch deck, because I asked for context. I'm like, wait a second. So I pulled the 2 of Wands, and that means you have to make a decision. And I was like, and there was like, well, you can go back to your comfort zone as part of the decision, or you can start moving towards a new direction and a new path, one that leads to greater blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, I don't understand. I don't get what they want, what they're trying to tell me. So then I pulled from my witch deck, and I got pruning. And it's a picture of a tree being like trimmed. And I was like, they're talking about fucking cannabis, aren't they? They are. They're still giving me shit. Like, that's what it was. I knew it. And intuitively, I had this big aha moment, and I was like, that's what they want me to prune. That's what all this is about. The tower card and the making a decision and all that. They're giving me this. Like, yeah. I'm listening. I know.
ultimately, it is your decision, and you have the choice to choose whether you quit or whether you keep going, and that's the cool thing about us living here, is we have that choice. We can choose. But I think your guides are just trying to simplify it for you and going, hey, babe, if you want to make it to 5D, you probably need to quit for a while.
They're like, hey, it's time to grow up now.
Yeah. Yeah. In a nice way, like in a nice way. Yeah.
I already gave up all the other stuff that they wanted me to give up. I guess, how many things am I going to have to, you know what I mean? Like, am I going to have to be like Siddhartha at some point for you guys to stop giving me homework?
Have you ever tried kava?
No.
Kava root?
No.
So I love kava. What I'll do is I will send you some. So you can it's a root. You can brew it into a tea and make like your own little tincture. But it is similar to alcohol in the way that it kind of makes you feel. It's considered like a social tonic. I haven't done a whole lot of research on it, so if I misspeak or say something wrong, I'm just going to apologize in advance. But I love kava. It works really, really well for me and my body. It's like when I want a glass of wine after work, I'll make a kava drink instead. Or like when I'm really craving something or just trying to get back to myself, or I just don't feel right and I want to be more socially aptable so I can talk to people and not seem kind of bitchy. Because sometimes when my meter is low, I can come across as really bitchy. And it's really just because I'm tired and I'm kind of burnt out in that sense energetically. And so kava works really well for my body to keep me grounded, but also keep me elevated, like energetically elevated. So I like the way it I like the way it I like the way it tastes. It's a very earthy type taste. Not everybody likes it. And sometimes it can give you a little bit of a tongue tingle. So it kind of makes your tongue tingle and you get that kind of cool feeling similar to alcohol, but it doesn't mess with your aura. It doesn't mess with your etheric field. It keeps you grounded and protected. And it gives you those similar feelings of like the first time you drink alcohol, like those first few sips, you start to feel pretty good. And,
Ungrounded. I feel immediately ungrounded when
yes,
I drink.
yes. And the ungrounded feeling is more like, to someone, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I feel kind of good. And you feel kind of flowy almost. The kava does the same thing, but it doesn't take you out of your body, which I really enjoy and like. So it's not something that I drink all the time. Um, and like I said, there are kava drinks. There are little like packets that you can buy and put in water and drink it that way. I would just say use in moderation, like you do everything else. But kava may be a good thing for you to try, just to kind of supplement for if you're in that freak out stage and you're like, oh my gosh, I need something. But you can use a plant instead, something that kind of helps keep you calm. And I have a girlfriend who she used to smoke pot all the time, and she doesn't anymore. She grows her own herbs, and she smokes herbs now. When she really really wants to smoke, she makes she has like
We
an
had those in Amsterdam where you have like these
herb
herbal
blend.
cigarettes, like an herbal blend that people
Yeah, so
add to
she
it.
does like, yeah, she'll do like rose and rosemary and
I
like a
never
couple of
thought
herbs
about
together.
smoking roses unless people are making those joints out of roses. You saw that thing back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
so like
you
dried
don't
rose
have to
petals
think
and other
about it.
things. So, yeah, so like if
To
it's
be honest, like
really
I
that.
used to smoke cigarettes too, and that was the hardest thing to quit after a while. But after a while, like even just smelling it, it makes you feel kind of sick. You end up quitting it, but then you even create like an aversion to certain things. And so, yeah, it's just
Yeah,
it's the vibration of it that is the problem, though. It's not even the fact that I can moderate things. Like moderation is kind of my middle name. I try to moderate all the good things. But at the same
yeah,
time,
yeah,
like many of us use things as a crutch without realizing they're doing it. And my problem is that I have it kind of like a habit where it's that time of day. You know what I mean? Like it's not whether or not I need it. It's, this is my relaxing time and I can't relax unless I have it.
yeah, yeah.
So that's
And
the
that's what I
problem.
like. That's what I like about kava. Yeah, is like it allows me to relax. It allows me to kind of decompress, and it allows me to do all these things similar to how the marijuana plant used to work. But like a little bit of history about the marijuana plant is it's not actually from Earth. It is from another galaxy. And it was brought here to help colonize this area so that Earth didn't get too low in 3D. So it's a fourth dimensional plant. So we can only raise so high on it. And if you're already vibrating above like lower 4D and you're smoking, it's bringing your vibration down naturally.
That's what the guys are saying. They said my
And so if
vibration
you're,
before, when I was low vibe, it would cheer me up and bring me up in vibe. But they
Mhm.
said, didn't you notice that you go down in vibration now? And I'm like, why? How is that possible? And I said, because your vibration is already is getting higher and higher and higher all the time. And it would be much higher if you weren't smoking, because every time you do, it goes down. And
Yeah,
I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I get it.
yeah.
So I
Well,
know
and
it's
it's
not because they're just trying to nag at me. It is for my own benefit.
yeah. Yeah, no, it is. It is. And like you said, it's something that's become, somewhat of a habit. And so it's finding easy ways to break that habit. Like I love coffee. Coffee is I love it. I've always loved coffee. So I do still drink coffee. I find coffee substitutes, but I also make sure that I do know that coffee naturally dehydrates my body. So I always have rehydration skills and I always drink like right now I call myself a drink goblin because I have literally 4 drinks sitting next
I
to my computer
usually
right
do
now.
as well. Yes.
But I
Well,
I
there's
like
one other thing,
dandelion.
sugar. Sugar is so hard to give up as well. That is one thing I'm also trying to cut back. Sugar is probably harder to quit than coffee.
Yes. So like I drink organic dandelion tea every morning
Nice.
after my coffee so that I'm getting a little bit of a detox in. And I drink 8 ounces of water before I drink my coffee. And then I
Yeah.
add stuff into my coffee. Just to kind of help make sure the nutritional value is a little higher up there. And like a cool
It
thing
does.
about
They say it
women,
strips your body of nutrients, the coffee.
it it does. It does. But if you're adding nutrients into the coffee and then stirring good intentions in my personal opinion, I feel like it takes away some of the acidity and it allows some of that goodness to come back into it because the coffee plant itself is very, very what's a good way to put it?
Well,
It's very
Siddhartha
wholesome.
yesterday said, "Why don't you take?" Or no, it wasn't Siddhartha. It was Angelica. She's like, "Why don't you take a coffee bath?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's a good idea. I didn't think about that." And she's like, "There's something about the coffee and the way it raises your vibration. In fact, they don't want us to know this. So just to take a cup of coffee and throw it in your bath with you and kind of, marinate in the coffee water." This actually helps. It's kind of like sea salt baths where I actually
Yeah.
have it as my scrub as well, where I take sea salt and coconut oil and a few other scents and things, and then I mix coffee granules in
Yeah.
there. So I'm scrubbing down with the coffee every morning.
Yeah.
And I added some vanilla in there. I do step out of the shower smelling like a latte. But it is actually like you don't even have to drink coffee. Like I'm drinking water today. I didn't even need my coffee this morning. I felt invigorated from my shower. I didn't even need it.
Oddly enough, so I know the collective doesn't know, but I sometimes get pulled in by Merlin and I will go to sleep super early at night and I do a bunch of work with him. So last night, I fell asleep at 8 p.m. my time.
Did you really?
I
You
was
were
out.
astral traveling.
I was out. Like,
Yes.
fell asleep with my computer still on and running, had just gotten off a Zoom and was so tired, just like leaned over and fell asleep. And my man came in and he's like,
You mean you went into
"Babe."
trance?
Yeah, he was like, "Babe." And I was like, "Oh," I kind of like popped up and he was like, "You look at you in there in your little cocoon." He was like, "Are you going to actually go to bed?" And I was like, "Oh shit." Like I'm not in bed. And so I did. I went and got ready for bed and went to sleep real quick. But I was just out. And sometimes I get like that. And it's really because we're doing a lot of work for Mother Tierra. And so I do a lot of that when I sleep. Um, and so yeah, there's a lot of things that I do behind the scenes that I don't necessarily talk about, but I will say, and this is not something I can talk about right now, only because it's not the right time, but I will say we were able to make a very big leap for the light last night. And because
Timeline
of
shift.
what we were able to do, we created a large timeline shift. Yes. And so because of this timeline shift, the collective, all of the human collective, we're in a quantum void again. So we have the choice to make another quantum jump over the next 2 weeks. And so this is really really cool because this is not something that I've seen happen in the collective ever. Not in my life, at least not in this physical lifetime. But what we're doing is so many people are turning on right now. It's like the hundredth monkey syndrome. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but
For those
essentially
who may
it's
not, explain a little bit. Yeah.
yeah. So essentially it's monkeys all over the world. Once they get something in their head, once 100 monkeys have it, all the other monkeys consciously get to access that information. And so it's similar with what we have going on right now through the quantum void is a lot of us are getting to access these new waves of information. And this is stuff we've been trying to access for a while, but it's like, here's the human collective and here's been this new information. And what happened last night is Merlin and I and several other ascended masters, we were able to go in and scoop out some of that collective and bring it back to where we're at now, which caused the quantum void. So it's like we're in a hole, we're in like a black hole. And all of us have the choice to either move up into the higher timeline, or you can move back down to where you were, or you can stay neutral. So those kind of are like your three choices per se. So if you're ready, if you're done with your bullshit and you're ready to move on, set that intention and just ride your wave. Go through the crap that you're going to go through over the next couple of days. Hold tight, hold firm, stay in your heart, stay out of your ego and stay in your heart. And you'll hit that by about June 2nd or 3rd.
You can tell things are ramping up with the shift. In fact, the guides pretty much on a daily basis are saying, "Oh, you should see what we're seeing from from our angle." You know, like they're very optimistic. But it's also like we've been dealing with quite a bit of psychic attacks the last 2 weeks too. It's almost like the dark side is pissed about what we're actually accomplishing, because they have been messing with us more than normal. Which I mean, it's part of the job. You know. It's like when you're a big astral prosecutor, you piss off the mob. So what are you going to do? You know, you just increase your expenses and make sure that you're backing each other up. And as we were saying earlier, like our group, the way that we back each other up, the way we support each other, it's priceless. It really is. I can't even imagine how solo healers are getting on during all this, because you need each other right now.
Yeah, we really do. Yeah. And it's time to.
One's gonna fall, you get them up. You're like, no, come on, let's go. You lift them back up again and keep going.
Yeah, for sure. And that's part of, like having a community that has your back. I've never really had that until recently. And like, that's something I called in. I got to a point where I was just tired of doing it by myself, because I've been doing it my entire life by myself and no one understood what I was doing. A lot of people thought I was crazy, and so it's just one of those things. I would stay to myself and I would do what I needed to do, but I'd stay to myself. And so finally I was like, you know what? I deserve to have other people in my life who understand what I'm doing, who get it, and who love me for doing what I do. And then it was like, boom, Laura, Adriana, Carolyn, Bradley, wham, and here we are, like it happened like literally in the snap of fingers, and so I was just like, oh my gosh, here it all is, it all happened in divine timing, and here we are creating this super wonderful, amazing experience, not only for us, but for others.
You are an incredible addition to our squad, by the way. Kat is such a badass. Like, she really is. Have you guys been watching these Lost Soul rescues? People keep commenting. That's one of the first things I hear when they're watching Lost Soul Rescue. It's like, I love watching Kat work. Because it's language with sign language in a way. And it's really beautiful to watch. But it's also funny to see how fast you work too. Like, you're almost working so fast you can't even speak it. Like, you're like as you're
yeah. Well, and then sometimes
Robin's popping in the other day, you were like
yeah. Well, and they're funny because they want to be included in the same way that like we include the Palladians. So like in the same way that we include Zach. So they watched Zach and the Palladians for such a long time, the Stellations, that they're like, hey, we deserve the same treatment. So you always double check and make sure that we are of the light, And so like when I'm in the middle of the working, I'm like, oh, I'm not used to this. Hold on. And so I will ask them super fast. But they're almost cautious.
One, you got Merlin on your right, and then you got 3 more trying to talk to you at the same time.
Yeah. So it's just, it's just one of those things. It's like, oh, hey, and there is chaos, and I feed off of chaos. I love chaos. I'm one of those people. I consider myself more of a chaos witch. Like if you were to think of what type of witch you wanted to be, I'd be a chaos witch, because I thrive on shit hitting the fan. Like, I'm the person when shit hits the fan, people call and they're like, Kat, I need you. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go. And I like doing that. I like being able to be that for my community, is knowing that, oh, shit's hit the fan, something's going on. I know Kat will have my back. And that's what I feel we're creating is we're creating a community where we have everyone's back and everyone has our back. And there are a lot of people that are going to fall out of this community, especially over the, I mean, we've already seen them falling off. But as we continue to build our community, there will be people that will fall off, and that's okay. We just send them love and allow them to fall off because there are some people who are choosing not to make that jump, and we have to love them enough to let them make that choice for them. You can't just keep dragging people fucking with you. I'm sorry, but like, we're not Santa Claus. We can't just trap somebody in a fucking magical bag and pull them with us. Like, that's just not how it works. Okay. So we've got to start focusing on ourselves. And if you have children, focus on your children too, because this does not apply to our kids. This applies to adults only. We, as mothers and fathers, are protectors of our children. So it is your job to protect your kids, but it is not your job to protect your mama, your daddy, or anybody else in your family who's fucking shit up, okay?
Yep. Exactly. Set those boundaries. Boundaries is a big theme right now. Because without it, you're going to allow people to mess with your vibration. And you can't. You got to protect your vibration. It's hard work to get your vibe up. And one person can come waltzing in the room and just wreck the vibe if you're not careful. So it is very important to kind of maintain those boundaries, especially with people that try to step over them.
For Family sure.
Because those are the ones that really tend to do it the most.
They'll bulldoze right over your boundaries and just say.
And colleagues, workers, yes, your coworkers, your boss, even your boss. No, it doesn't matter if he's paying your bills. You still have to set a boundary. You know, because they will. They'll walk all over you, and they will affect you majorly if you know.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
It's distracting with the comments. I told you.
Oh, man.
Love it.
And like Melissa, I don't know. You said yours is 6/12. If that's referring to your birthday, that's my son's birthday as well. He'll be 16.
Oh, that's so dope. Scrimonte says, but the downloads lately, though, it's nonstop pressure on the top of my head, totally spaced out, and feels like you slide into another dimension. I don't even remember what people are saying when that happens. We've had similar things, actually. That's very interesting that you're experiencing that.
So it's
like a glitch.
It is, but it isn't. It's a paradigm shift. That's what it's called. Yeah. So a paradigm shift and a timeline shift are two totally different things. When you shift your entire consciousness from one timeline to another and you stick in that timeline, that's paradigm shift. A lot of people are doing that right now. You're taking yourself from a lower timeline and you're shifting your entire paradigm into that higher timeline, and then you're rooting yourself in that higher timeline. That's a paradigm shift versus a timeline shift. We can fluctuate through timelines all the time, but when our soul chooses and our body activates to that choice, we do a paradigm shift. So it can feel really weird. Like there have been a couple times in my life where I'm driving and I stop. And like literally I will feel like 5 or 6 versions of myself coming into me when I'd stop. And like I would feel like my eyes, I'd feel like I was crazy because it would almost be like a blur straight through my eyes. But I would see all these versions of myself come in like in my side vision and like push into me. And I would like
timeline collapse, because I'm seeing that word popping up a lot. A lot of people are talking about timeline collapses too, where we're like converging timelines and almost like merging them rather than passing between them. Like they're collapsing in on each other and becoming one with each other.
Yes. Yeah. So we're becoming upon the precipice of converging with the divine timeline is what I'm seeing. So like we have a divine timeline where it's like 5D, and that's where all of our brothers and sisters are. That's where a lot of the divine light beings are. That's where they reside. And that's what makes it easier for us to come into contact with them. We fluctuate in and out of that realm pretty regularly. Our emotions keep us lower here versus here. If we can bring more joy into our lives, we can fluctuate higher here and be able to connect with these higher beings and be able to channel more. A lot of us, what we do is when we dip into grief or fear, especially you start to fear your gifts or something, you get jump scared and it actually scares you.
Wow.
You dip down and then you stay here instead of going bloop, 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 bloop. So like anytime anything scares me, I do breathing techniques until my body physically relaxes and calms down. And I allow my emotions to feed through me during that time, which is harder said than done. I will say that. But emotions are really, it's a 6-second chemical in the brain, and then it takes 90 seconds to process. So if you could take 96 seconds after you are triggered, and you could take that 6 seconds to breathe and let those hormones go through your body, and then that following 90 seconds to just breathe and allow that emotion to flow out of your body, you wouldn't take it in. But we weren't taught that as kids.
Fascinating.
So like that's one of the things I like to focus and work on is
those things when we're upset.
Mm-hmm. And so when you're triggered, if you can take 90 seconds and just breathe, I do this with my son, and I've done it with my son so much. He knows, he understands when I get triggered to the point where shit's about to hit the fan, I'm about to break loose. I've always told him, Bubba, Mama's triggered. She needs a minute. And I will turn around and not face him, and I will close my eyes and I come into myself and I breathe until that emotion passes. And then I turn around and address my child, because it's not his fault that I'm triggered. And I have yelled at him before through triggering when he was younger. And then the repercussion from how guilty I felt after that. And then he cried, and then I cried. And then I apologized for like the next 6 months because I felt like a huge asshole. That's not something I wanted to repeat. So I decided for me, like, okay, I've got to figure out how to control my emotions so that I'm not pushing them onto anybody else, because it's not fair to anybody else to have that. And I know a lot of us as starseeds, we've been people's emotional punching bags for our entire life. So it's very easy for us to go, oh, hey, Laura's shit. Let me just go ahead and just take that punch from her. Oh, I'm good. When in actuality, it's not okay. I shouldn't even be taking that punch from you. So it's one of those things. We just need to realize that the emotional state isn't a very long period of time. So if we can breathe through that emotional state and allow ourselves to not catch and hook into that emotion, it flows through us. It flows right through our aura, and we don't take it on as ours. We let it flow through us, and then it's pushed.
The alternative is sitting there stewing about it, still going down that downward spiral, and it's very hard to climb back up from that.
Yeah, it is. It takes physical time to
climb back up. Too. We've seen so many times where people are going through grief, and then there's those emotions are just rising to the surface, and then they focus on the emotion, and they kind of like live in that mindset for a little while. And then the longer they're in that mindset, the entities will sense that they're in that mindset, and they'll start feeding their own thought forms in there. They're going to start lowering your vibration, putting negative thoughts in your head, and really just kicking you while you're down. We've seen that quite a lot with people.
For sure. Yeah. No, and it's something that I think the human collective needs to understand is how our emotions work and how they feed into all of our bodies, not just our emotional body, but they feed into our thoughts. So like if you don't think that you deserve to be connected to source, you're not going to be connected to source, because that's a belief, and your thoughts are more powerful than what you think. So always just make sure that you're empowering yourself. And I've always envisioned, I love to garden. So I've always envisioned my mind as just this huge, beautiful psychedelic garden. I can close my eyes and I create this garden. I have pathways that lead me to family. I have pathways that lead me to friends. I have pathways that lead me to clients, and I have pathways that lead me to different things. And so like, I even have a pathway that leads me to Merlin's corner, and I have a corner specifically for Merlin. I have a corner for different gods and goddesses that I've worked with, or different ascended masters that I've worked with. So I created all these corners. And what I do when I feel like crap is I go into my garden and I look in my garden, and I just look around, and anything that's not supposed to be there, I pull out like a weed, and I send it to the sun, and I let the sun burn it away. And I use that practice, and I keep pulling those bad thoughts out, those bad weeds, stuff I don't want in my garden, stuff that's going to cause chaos. And I pull it out, and I send it to the sun, and I let it burn it away.
Wonderful. A very good way of working. And I'm just highlighting the comments so people will understand a little bit about the grid work that you do. Thank you, Charisse, for posting that. But I did notice there's a lot of, and I wanted to say this too, because Bradley's comment actually triggered this, Bradley. I love you, Bradley. Bradley says, I would totally take a punch for both of you. And so I think it'd be a good thing to talk about the whole martyrdom thing as well, because we're noticing that a lot, aren't we? A lot of martyrdom are happening right now for starseeds in general. We come here with kind of a white knight hero complex because we're like, we're answering your call, baby. Like, we're ready to rock. We're here to work. We're here to save the day. But we also have to recognize that sometimes we rob people of their learning experience by trying to kind of, save them when they really should be picking themselves up.
Yes.
So it's hard right now because there's so much of what we're going through that we're processing isn't even from this timeline, isn't even from this lifetime. We're processing multiple lifetimes worth of karma, especially for those of you who are starseed veterans who are probably even on your last lifetime here. It does make you wonder, is my mic being weird? So it does make you wonder where that line is, where we're trying to kind of find our place in all of that.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to the martyrdom, a lot of starseeds, me included, and you included, in a lot of our past lives, we had to be a martyr in order to literally let our family members and other people survive in that timeline that we were in physically. So that being said, a lot of us are running with these martyrdom codes still in their field, in their cellular structure that they're not even consciously aware of that is moving. Yeah. And so it's literally, I'll give you the shirt off my back. I'll give you my bra. I'll give you my pants. I'll be walking naked. And then I'll start giving you pieces of my skin. And I still won't even notice that I'm still giving you pieces.
Yeah.
It's almost
mothers do that. They just give and give and give until there's nothing left.
It's like A Knight's Tale. Have you seen that movie? A Knight's Tale?
Yes. I know exactly the scene you're talking about with the gambling.
Yes, so he's such a bad gambler that he's walking around naked, and they come up across him and they're like, hey, you don't have any clothes on, right? And he's like, basically, yeah, fuck you. I know I don't. But like, it's his gambling it's the way I'm looking at it is his gambling is his form of self-sabotage. And so he sabotaged himself so much that it took his group finding him and showing him that that wasn't the way and loving him unconditionally enough that he was able to find that piece of himself that he'd been wanting to find. And he stepped on his soul path. And he was able to be this great poetic writer because he had this team behind him. And he wasn't that man, that naked man. At the end of the movie, he wasn't that naked man anymore who had his shit taken all the time. And so like he released his martyrdom by allowing himself to be loved and move through that. And that's just that's an example because I know a lot of people have seen that movie. And if you haven't, highly recommend it. It's really funny.
Knight's Tale is a great movie. Yes. But no, this is why they always say put your own oxygen mask on first. Make sure that your own needs are met before you start doing too much for other people, because that is how burnout happens very quickly. And this is something that I'm also learning within myself, because I'll still be writing emails at 2:00 in the morning because I don't want somebody to go, you know what I mean? Like, and yes, the last 2 days, I've had probably 30, 40 messages from people that are kind of in panic mode. And so, and even some of which have been in our own group, and because of these psychic attacks that have been occurring over the last 2 weeks. So it's almost like you end up in this frazzled fight or flight mode after doing that rather than thriving.
Yeah, for sure. It is. Well, and like the amygdala is the archaic part of our brain. So it's like it is a piece of our brain that served a very, very good purpose a long time ago. Now it prohibits us. And so what the dark has been able to do is they have been able to flip that light switch on and find ways to keep it running.
So if you're always talking about anxiety and how many people are taking pills for anxiety or going to counseling for it, and they have no idea it's actually a psychic attack.
That, and also it's enabling from other people. It's the martyrdom. It's also having people in your life that will not let you hit rock bottom. Because some of our fellow brothers and sisters who are starred seeds have to hit rock bottom.
Oh, I know a lot of people with that, with alcoholism especially, is a big thing right now.
You have
Because
to let
escapism
them.
is a huge thing for starseeds. They just want to escape. And it's
Yeah.
not even in my guides. We're like, well, it's the biggest escape isn't even in drugs or alcohol. It's actually in social media. Doom scrolling and arguing with people and just letting the hours tick by while you're just kind of in a trance on your phone. Like these things, it's a form of escapism and it's actually very low vibe. It lowers your frequency to be stuck in that mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I'll just say start small. Start with something small and work your way up.
Yeah.
Us as humans, we have these tendencies to go, oh, I'm going to go big. And then it's like a New Year's resolution. You decide you're going to change your whole life on January 1st. And then by March 1st, none of it has stuck because you bit off too big of a chunk. You couldn't chew it. So start small, take small bites and work your way up to the path that you're wanting to. So like something easy. If you get on your phone and you're on your phone for hours at a time, just scrolling, and you know there's something else you're supposed to be doing, set a timer. Go, okay, I'm going to give myself 15 minutes on Facebook, and then I'm going to go do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
So you're balancing your time, but you're also balancing the inability and the disability to fluctuate through the realms. When you get stuck and you're doing just one thing again and again and again, you're sticking yourself dimensionally into a realm and you're staying there because you're telling your soul, I don't matter. What you're telling me I don't want to do, I'm okay with it. I'm okay without it. And so then it just keeps fluctuating and fluctuating and fluctuating because you're telling the universe one thing and then you're taking it back. And then you're telling it one thing and then you're taking it back. So you need to stand firm in what you're telling the universe. So if you really are wanting to break ties or are wanting to do something, you need to make it known within the universe and then stick to it. Yeah. If that makes sense. And if y'all have any questions or anything like that, y'all just shoot them in the comments. I'd be more than happy to answer.
Yes.
But it's just one of those
energy shifts are happening more and more on a daily basis. So you guys will start to notice, and there's 133 people watching right now. And the reason I think that so many people are kind of getting involved in this is they can sense it. They can feel it. Like the energies are intense right now. This shift is definitely intensifying. And the more that we kind of do this inner work, the more we're going to notice that we are shifting with it and that we are actually like elevating more rapidly than we have in all the years prior.
Yeah. Yeah,
once
for
you
sure.
let go of all that baggage that we're carrying around, some of us are lugging whole suitcases full of rocks, basically. Just like, I don't even know. Like some of you are literally like a pack mule, just carrying tons and tons of stuff for no reason. And when you start to release it through forgiveness and other, exercises, through all kinds of purging processes that are continuing on right now, a lot of people are purging in all kinds of ways. You'll start to notice that you're dropping those bags and you're going to start feeling lighter. You're going to start noticing you're feeling healthier. You're going to notice you're sleeping better. You're going to notice you have more energy. Reading that comment from Rachel. I got a question. I didn't get a cord cutting tie with an X 3 times now, but he still keeps popping up in my head. What's with that? He's probably setting a cord himself. The thing is, we are also very telepathic. And when somebody pops into your head, you're probably thinking of them for a reason. They're probably thinking of you.
Yes, and I don't necessarily think it's a cord for you, Rachel. I think that it's more so your telepathy. He's thinking of you and he's wanting you to know that he's thinking of you. So it's almost like he's like pushing into your field and going, you're going to think of me. You're going to think of me. You're going to think of me. And so you can just say, no, I'm not. You could, I would say, no, I'm not, but send him love too. So that it's not like,
yeah.
So that you're so that you're not like aiming back at him, and because that starts petty discord in the quantum realm, and then that can cause more shit for you. So if you really are ready to move on, which I get the sense that you are, send him love and compassion and just say, no, I'm done. But I can send you love and compassion, but get the fuck out of my head. You don't deserve to be.
Yes. Yes. Donna says, even if they are deceased. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if they
Especially
are
if they're
deceased.
deceased.
Well, and if they're deceased, I would highly recommend if you have someone who has passed away and they are bantering you or berating you, or you feel like it's them,
They're
it
coming into
could
their
be an
dream state.
entity, or they could be stuck earthbound, and that could be the only way that they can reach you. So do take that with a grain of salt. If you do feel like someone is berating you and they're an earthbound, it may be good to contact one of us and do an earthbound check.
Yeah, just to make sure that he has fully
Just to
crossed
make
over.
sure, because some entities can act like lost loved ones, especially they'll tap in right after they die, and they tap in like grief, and then they're like, oh hey, I'm so and so, like I'm your grandmother, your grandmother just died, I'm them, and
They
then
do
you're
that
like,
a lot.
oh thank you, and
There
then
was
you
a
accept
mom
them
whose
in,
son died recently, and she
and
was
it
having
wasn't.
horrible nightmares, and we found out it wasn't the son. He was in a dark void somewhere. He didn't even know he was dead.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we found out that, all those nightmares and stuff were entity induced. They do. They kick you when you're down. They will take your worst trauma and turn it into a repeated nightmare that just keeps coming back over and over again, because they just, that's what they do, unfortunately. I do like Ray's comment. Ray said, every time you scroll, it's like taking a hit of crack, because the brain releases dopamine every time. When you deplete yourself and feel drained, just like crack or any other drug, you go to the gym and stay off the phone. That's funny, because my guides told me, and I forget who else suggested. I think it was Bradley. They suggested, instead of thinking, every time I think about doing cannabis, go and exercise.
Yeah.
Like every
Yeah, or
time
go
I'm
for a
craving
walk,
smoke,
or
go and do 20 jumping jacks. You'll forget about it. I was like, that's actually a good point. Maybe I will. I'll go stand on my jiggly machine or something. You know what I mean? If it's raining, like there's something you can do to kind of shift your mindset.
yeah, well, it's like an emotion. It's similar to an emotion, like if you can hold out for, like, it's sometimes addictions last twice as long. So if you can last like 3 minutes through that craving, and find something else to do, your body will stop sending that craving to you after about a week. And then it gets less and less and less and less and less. And then after about 3 months or so, you may not have it anymore. Or you may have a craving that pops up and you're like, I'm good. I don't need it,
And with certain things, like a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to exercise. And it's like, well, if you can get over that attitude, kind of, because I was like that for a while, where like, I'm burned out, I'm exhausted, I've been working 12 hours. Why would I want to go and exercise too? Well, it actually helps you to release a lot. The movement helps you to release the trapped emotions, to help you release the stress. And then on top of that, you're also kind of helping make it easier for you to sleep at night.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. So Kara asked a good question. She said, I recently found out that my business had an energetic block from someone else's jealousy. What are strategies that I can use to protect my business? The same way that you protect your physical body, you can protect your business as well. So like
even your website, your bank accounts, all of that can be protected the same way.
You can energetically protect that. So like when I include myself in my protections, I'm just going to use night as an example. At night before I go to bed, right when I lay into bed, I start my protection ritual. So I say oh my gosh, the list that I gave you last time. I'm gonna call back my power. I call back my light. I say that my 3 times, and so mote it be. And then I ground myself and make sure I'm fully grounded. Then I set my protection. I set my 3 bubbles of protection. I'll do my golden, my white, and my rainbow bubbles of protection. Once I know that those are set, I set those protection bubbles. I set them for my man. I set them for all my animals. I set them for my son. And then I set them for my business. I set them for my business accounts. I set them, I seal this room. This is my sacred healing room. I seal this room up too. And then I just ask my intuition, okay, is there anything else that I need to protect tonight? Is there anything else that I need to protect? And then if I get it, I'm like, okay, send protection over there, send protection over there, send protection over there. And then you just continue doing this. And it eventually will be that you've built up your business to be so strong that anything that tries to penetrate it just automatically falls away because it can't reach you.
That's beautiful.
And if you know it's a specific person, go ahead and send them love.
Yeah.
Because they need that love.
Jealousy Don't ever try and put them in the freezer and do all those other things because no, that'll just come bouncing back at you. You don't want to do that.
They really need love and
their
compassion.
Free will too. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They need love and compassion. So.
Well, this is the thing, and a lot of times these people don't even sovereign. Like I did a check on somebody, and there was a curse on them, and this was somebody who is really struggling. So I was like, "Where's this curse coming from?" And they said, "Oh, it's from a jealous person, a jealous individual around them." And I said, "Okay, well, can we put some extra protection around them?" Yes, we can. I was like, "Can we check this other person to see why they're trying to curse this person?" And there's like curses and spells that they were sending to this person. And sure enough, we checked, and they were not sovereign. There was a Lizzie attached to that person that was sending the curses and spells. So sometimes there is a human element, yeah, but a lot of times that human element has been corrupted by another entity. So also keep that in mind, that sometimes some of the people that are being really toxic in your life, they aren't even sovereign. They aren't the ones making these, opinions and things be heard. So you got to take it with a grain of salt, because you don't know what their true motive is or what the actual person is dealing with. Same thing goes for bullies. Like we tend to notice, like let's say with schoolyard bullies tend to be abused at home, and they're just perpetuating that abuse at school. So it is very interesting how many of us kind of have our own ways of dealing with things, how some of us end up more compassionate and kind and understanding, and others end up with a chip on their shoulder trying to do others harm. So there's always an underlying cause behind these things.
Yeah, for sure. There really is.
It takes a lot of time to imagine a protection bubble, or is it having the intention and believing is there enough? Yeah, it is enough. Your belief is everything. And as soon as you start questioning yourself, as soon as you start doubting that it works, you're lowering your defenses. You're weakening your own shield. So yeah, you have to trust. In fact, it's funny because I would even say to my guides in the beginning when I first started doing my protection, "Can you see my bubble? Am I actually cloaked right now? Like, do you see my cloak?" They're like, "Yeah, you did good. Good job."
You nearly made me spit out my tea.
Because I didn't believe it either. I was having a hard time believing it. And then one day I did this giant obsidian bubble for the first time. And I was like, "Ooh, I really like my rainbow obsidian bubble." And Constantine goes, "It's very beautiful, actually." And I was like, "Thank you, Constantine. I love that." Thank you for complimenting my bubble. So yes, it is very much an self-empowerment thing. Where you need your squad, you need your team, you need your community to support you, but at the same time, you are your best support unit by doing the things that you know are best for your spiritual hygiene, for your protection, for your grounding. And that's one of the most common things we say to people when they message us back and say, like, "I don't feel any different. I don't notice any change after a clearing," which, I mean, 9 times out of 10, people do notice an immediate change, an immediate shift in their energy. In fact, there was one young lady that was commenting in one of these groups saying that her daughter has had horrific nightmares every single night for the past 3 months. And we did a clearing on her, and I checked in last night. I was like, "How's your daughter doing?" And she said she hasn't had a single nightmare since, not one, in nearly 2 weeks. And I was like, "Thank you." Like, I'm very glad to hear that. So it's interesting how many people end up, kind of feeling better, but some people don't. And then whenever we go and ask, like, "What are you doing for your grounding? What are you doing for your protection?" And then they don't really know what they're doing. In many cases, they're like, I mean, like I took a shower with some sea salt. And I'm like, "Did you do your psychic protection?" And they're like, "Kind of, but I don't know if it's working." And it's like, this is where they creep in. It's the doubt. If you aren't owning your shit, if you're not confident in what you're doing, then they're going to creep in through that lack of confidence.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, I'm going to share an example that was shown to me, and it makes perfect sense to me. But it's like when you're driving a vehicle and you're the driver of your vehicle, you're sovereign.
Yes.
But if you're in the passenger seat of your own vehicle, who's fucking driving? If someone else is driving your vehicle, how scary is that? When you're supposed to be driving, but somebody else is, when you look at it from that standpoint, it's like, no, no one else is driving my fucking car or my fucking ride. Me, no one's driving me. It's all me. And so when you look at it from that perspective, it goes, oh crap. What all is in my car that I don't need, that's not mine, or that is mine, but I'm ready to release and get rid of, or that I'm ready to heal from? What's that next step?
Yes.
Chantel, I saw that you said you saw a video about visualizing shutting down your chakras at night. I would not recommend this unless you have been working with energy for a long amount of time. Um, I very rarely shut my chakras down. I do, but it's only when I'm doing work and I have to stay completely hidden. Um, so I would say if you are comfortable and you already know how to work with your chakras and you can open and close them yourself already, that may be a good thing to start utilizing because that is a form of psychic protection. However, if you don't know how to run your own chakras yet energetically, do not do it. You're going to create more chaos for yourself than good. And I promise you, because I've done that before to myself. And it's not something, it takes a while to come out of. If you shut something down and you don't know how to turn it back on, you're causing more harm for yourself than good. So I would say stick with your protection, your spiritual protection rituals, and just allow your chakras to be enveloped in that so that they can stay open and chill and still be healed and still stay your Shishuna column or your divine light column, which is where your chakras are. It can stay open and you can still receive those divine messages, because I wouldn't want you to shut something down and it creates chaos in the physical body because your chi is not running, your energy is not flowing the way it should because you've shut a chakra down and you don't know how to open it back up. Does that make sense?
It does. Makes a lot of sense. You need your chakras. They're there for a reason. To shut them down means you're shutting yourself down.
Yes, and there are techniques that, like I said, I do sometimes shut my chakras down, but I don't turn them off per se. I dull them so that no one else can see them, so that when I'm traveling and doing my work, no one can see me. But I don't physically shut them down or turn them off. That can be very dangerous. And I don't want anybody to think, oh, I can shut my chakras down. And you do that, and then you start having all of these issues physically in the body. And they're very hard to get rid of once they come into the physical body. They're not impossible, but I just don't want you to think that, oh, I can shut my chakras down, and you shut them down and then you don't know how to open them back up. And you create a lot of chaos for you and everybody around you. So I would just say, let's stick to protecting yourself for now.
I like that. Because the stronger your chakras are, the more effective your etheric field is too, your bubble of protection.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But going out in public when there's somewhere like a festival, when you've got thousands of people around you, that is a kind of a, oh, my lights are dimming. Huh? Hello. Did you guys see that? Somebody's saying hello. We can talk about class a little bit. I was going to say we got 10 more minutes or so. Would you want to just mention, because Kat's going to be doing training with us. She's going to be assisting us on June 7th and 8th. We're going to be, doing practice cases and kind of, throwing some of our students in the deep end a little bit, getting them to just kind of be like, hey, you're going to join us. We're going to start doing cases immediately. Because watching us work is probably the best way to actually learn spirit release work, because each case is different. And even though you could be doing this work 20 years, you will be noticing that you're going to find new stuff almost every day. New entities, new situations, new clever ways. As far as we start to develop our sense of clearing, they're starting to come up with new tricks and methods to kind of hide themselves or to shield what they're trying to put around people's energy. Or, we've noticed this quite a bit recently, that they're messing with the energies and coming up with new tricks. It's like, as we learn new tricks, so do they.
Yes. Yeah. No, it is, and it's funny how they try. Their tricks are different, but it's the same trick, just cloaked in a different way. So, like some of the stuff that we find, I'm like, well, hey, let's get rid of the cloak, and you're like, oh, that's the same thing. They just have been able to play the game at the capacity that we're playing it, but they can't create. So it's one of those things, like shit's about to hit the fan for them in a way worse way.
They're desperate. That's why they're acting this way. That's one of the reasons why. I mean, plus, I mean, we have been dealing with extra psychic attacks, but we're doing training right now, so that's pretty normal. They want us to be, if you guys are interested in signing up for training with Kat and I, class will be on June 7th and 8th. There's where you can sign up on my Astralara website. So what Kat and I and Carolyn and Bradley and Adriana, we will be teaching you guys to do the same work that we do. So you guys will be able to get involved in this clearing work that we're doing, which is a really big deal considering how many people need this. Pretty much everybody we check isn't really sovereign these days.
Yeah.
You look like you're doing something. What are those hands up to?
We're about to do a healing. Nice. I can already feel it. I'm
Would
gathering everybody in.
Today? Somebody's here right now. I can feel their energy ever since they announced themselves with the light flicker.
Yeah, okay. So if it is safe for you to do so, Merlin is asking that you just close your eyes. If it's not safe for you to do so, if you're driving or doing something that you need to keep your eyes open, just set the intention that this will still work for you.
I just got chills. Ooh.
So everybody has been brought into, I like to call it the room of observement. So what we're going to do is we're going to observe ourselves through forgiveness for another person. So we're going to allow all cords, ties, and connections with a specific person that comes to mind that you're wanting to release from. There we go. We're going to allow them to pop up across the room from you. There's no animosity here, only unconditional love, because you truly do love this person. There's just discord. We have Archangel Raphael stepping in behind you. He is putting his hands on your shoulders. He is allowing you to release any and all that needs to be released from your body, from all of your bodies right now. There you go. We have Archangel Michael here. He is coming in and swiping his blue sword around your aura to finish burning away any residual energy in your field. Now we are going to start to build an unconditional love bubble with your hands. Send all the unconditional love that you can into this bubble. Keep sending the love in until your bubble is complete. When it's complete, it should look kind of like a mini sun, burning with unconditional love. We are now going to send that unconditional love, that ball, that sun of unconditional love, to the person across the room. It has reached the other person. They are entering and accepting this love into their heart. Now Archangel Michael and Raphael are working with that other person, allowing any all ties, cords, and connections to be absolved, healing them in the same way that they healed you. Now this person is building a ball of unconditional love. Their ball of unconditional love is complete as well, and they are sending it back to you. Accept their love. Accept their forgiveness. Accept this love into your heart. Allow yourself here. Keep your breath steady. If you have an emotional release or any type of release, please let it out. You are worthy of this forgiveness. You're worthy of breaking all ties with this person. They no longer deserve to be in your life. It is okay to let them go. Okay, everyone's just about done. So I ask that you find your rainbow. There will be a rainbow sheet around you. Step through that rainbow sheet and fully come back into your body. Come back. There we go. Just breathe.
Somebody just did one of these to me. Who is that? Funny.
That was Michael.
I felt that clear as day.
There you go. Take your time whenever you're ready. You can start to open your eyes and come back. If you are ungrounded or don't feel like you're grounded, just pop it in the comments and I'll pop in and ground you a little bit more. Some people can get ungrounded after we do healings like this because we take you to the causal realm, which is a very high realm for forgiveness and for peace and for love. And so sometimes it takes us a minute to settle back into our bodies after that. So
wonderful. I feel amazing right now. Started to get chills as you started doing that work. That was amazing. What do you
normally
guys
with light language you get chills? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Kat. Now he says my lights went out with a strong lightning strike. Thor is there.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Oh, look at all these wonderful comments. Thank you, Kat. You even said the exact sentence in there that I say daily. Whoa. Very cool. Nice to see you, Chantal, by the way, honey. Hello. I saw a pentagram when I sent the love between us. Interesting. Thank you so much going through a breakup and that helped. Would love a little extra grounding support. Oh, sending you so much love, Lila. My son is listening with me and he says he needs more grounding. Walking barefoot out in the soil, the grass, the sand, even walking on concrete, it helps to ground you. I feel incredible. All my power flicked on and off during the healing. Very interesting. All this fluctuations happening. Very interesting. Is the tingling feeling a grounding or ungrounding feeling?
Grounding. Sometimes when we've been ungrounded for a long amount of time and you do ground fully into your body, you'll get tingles.
I'm still getting goosebumps right now. I got them right now. Somebody's definitely here. Hello. Karen says, yes, thank you, Kat, and thank you, Laura, for these amazing educational podcasts. Love and light. Going through a tough time with my brother and his addiction, so this was very helpful. Oh, sending you so much love, Karen.
Yes, lots of love.
Loy says, Kat, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I needed this today.
I'm so happy I could help assist, Loy. Okay. Everybody should feel more grounded. If you don't, just pop back in. I feel like I've caught everybody, but sometimes I do miss. We're all human. Yes, and I will
This is
say
the
when we
kind of
do,
support you guys will get in class too, by the way. We're going to be doing lots of healing work, meditation, grounding, and things like this in class as well. So there's going to be a lot of blockages being removed, a lot of vibrational. It's almost like we've got like energetic chains. Maybe it's like it's kind of like the what are they called? Those J seals that we were talking about before. Like there's certain blockages that are meant to be released in certain periods. And then, like, once you get up to a certain point and you plateau, you're kind of like, what's happening? I feel like I haven't changed anything. And then once the block is removed, you're like, okay, now I can keep moving up. Now I can keep going up in vibration. It's like an energy dampener. You know what I mean? Some of this karmic stuff.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, and like I said, like some of this stuff gets you caught. It catches you and you can't advance forward until you release it. And if you don't know that that's what's catching you up, then how can you release it? That's where I come in, is I can see, like I take one look into your field and I can see everything. It's like when I start working with you, I ask you questions because it can get overwhelming because I'm like, well, there are infinite possibilities here. What are you wanting to work on? What are you wanting to achieve? What are you wanting to create? Because there are so many possibilities in your field. It can be overwhelming for me if I don't have any guidance from you telling me, oh, well, this is what I'm wanting, or this is what, I have going on, or this specific person in my life is really, I need to let them go, and so that really helps too. Oh, thank you. I was about to say yes. And I will say real quick before we get off, I have been called, I'm stepping way out of my comfort zone to do this, but starting in July through December, I am going to start what's called Cat's Rainbow Room. So we are going to, I will have 2 times a month where we'll meet. If you can't meet live, I will have recordings that you can pop on. And so I'm still trying to figure out the process of how this is all going to work. But we're going to meet 2 times a month and we're going to do 1 healing a month and 1 activation a month. And we will go through different healings and different activations through each month to help us get ready to amplify and activate ourselves and get ready for 5D. And so
Is that on your website yet?
The synopsis is the sign up button is not yet. I haven't quite figured out how to get reoccurring services, but it's only going to be $44 a month. So we live in the physical world. I have to make physical money. However, I did want to make this affordable for, as many people as I can. But like I said, we will meet 2 times a month and we will do an activation and a healing. We'll probably do the healing first, and then 2 weeks later, we'll do the activation. So your body has time to heal and acclimate, and then we'll activate. And then we'll go through and see the next layer. Each month we'll go through a different layer and we'll activate, we'll heal and we'll activate, and we'll heal and we'll activate, and we'll heal and we'll activate, and move through a bunch of these layers to allow your intuition and your psychic senses and everything about you start to turn on more intricately. Yes. So
love that. How exciting.
Oh, Loy, I'm going to message you because I am not. I'm not at all. I try really hard.
Roy is a Jill of all trades. She's also really exciting to have on the podcast tomorrow. It'll be nice to see you tomorrow, Loy. But yeah, there's going to be all kinds of growth periods with us helping each other and kind of helping us each remove each other's blockages. Like healers need healers. They absolutely.
Yes. And that's what I want this space to be for, is more for people who are on that path, who are ready to heal all of their bullshit and get into the more activation stage. We need to get out of the healing stage and into the activation stage. When we start to activate our dormant abilities, our dormant DNA, our dormant RNA, and we start to activate that, our psychic abilities amplify, our gifts turn online, and then we can immediately start doing what we're supposed to be doing. And that clarity comes with that learning. Once we get rid of some of these layers, we allow ourselves to ascend higher. So it's just going to be $44 a month. It will be something that you can either pay in full or you can pay at the beginning of each month. That's kind of what I'm setting up as a payment system. So it comes out like the first of each month, or you can pay for it all throughout the whole year if you want to, and you get a small discount for that. Like I said, that's something I'm still working on. And then I'm also teaching Holy Fire Reiki in July. It's $1,111. This is Holy Fire Reiki. It will start you from level 1 all the way to Karuna Master. So this is a year journey. We'll start with level 1 and 2 in July. In January, we will take our masters, and next July, we will take our Karuna Masters. This gives you enough time to acclimate into the energies of Reiki and Holy Fire. It gives you physical time to integrate with the energies of Holy Fire. And then we work with the levels of your body into that. And so Holy Fire Reiki is really amazing in how it works with all of your bodies to help you become more whole so that you can step onto your path. So that's what I'm offering. I just wanted to pop
Do you
in
have
and
a
say that.
Facebook page about where all this is? I know you've got your private one. Do you have a public one?
But it's everything right now is on my website. I'm going to
Okay.
start posting on Infinite Metaphysics more about it, my business page more about it. And then I do have my private Infinite Metaphysics, my little private group. So if y'all want to be a part of that, I'll pop in and do healings sometimes, channelings, pop in with good information on that as well. So I can pop in and put that in the comments later today.
Perfect.
But yeah, so that's what I got.
It's so nice to have you as a part of our group now, Kat. I must say, like, when we first met, I was like, I felt like I knew her from somewhere. Like, Kat and I immediately hit it off, and we've been very close ever since. And we're so blessed to have you in our community, Kat. We're so grateful for all the things that you've been doing for clearings already. And so I'm very excited to be doing a class with you as well.
Yes, me too. I'm so looking forward to it.
So if you guys are interested in this and her Reiki journey, make sure that you check out her website. There is the link, KatherineIrwin.com. Thank you so much.
If y'all have already done Reiki, and you are interested in Holy Fire, but you're already a used to be Reiki master or some other form, and you're wanting to learn about Karuna or what Karuna Reiki is, just shoot me a message. I'd be more than happy to get with you. So this is not just for newbies. If you're at any level and want to learn anything about Holy Fire, just hit me up. I'd be more than happy to help, and we can set stuff up to teach you and help you grow. I'll have lots more things coming soon. I'm really pushing myself outside of my comfort zone and trying to create classes more to bring the 5D realm
You're
to
pushing
us.
yourself out of that comfort zone. Merlin's also back there going, go on, get.
He's like pushing me off the cliff, and then he like catches me when I get 2 feet under, and he's like, see, I got you. I'm like, that's a really big cliff, Merlin. That's a really big cliff. So yes.
We're so blessed to have him in as well. Thank you, Merlin, for everything that you've been doing as well. We're very grateful for all the help and support we can get.
Yes.
Awesome.
So
we'll bring Kat on in a couple of weeks, and we'll have another conversation. Thank you so much for today, Kat.
Thank you,
guys.
It was
great to see all of you. Thank you for joining us. Lots of love, everybody. And we'll see you guys on with Lloyd tomorrow. It'll be a fun chat as well. Mwah. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye,
see you all soon. Bye.